Good morning, everyone. I'm Alice Daniel. I'm an attorney for, well, I have to say, over 30 years. And my focus mainly has been the family area, family law, and of course dealing with the norms of making wills and conveyancing and so on and so forth. I'm a civil practitioner. And that, most importantly, would bring me into dealing personally with an issue such as this. I have found, and I've been asked to cut it down to the challenge, but this is really quite an extensive area that the law is still grappling with, the area of dementia and what we would call in law the legally vulnerable. Because immediately, as an adult, and you know that you're an adult in Trinidad and Tobago by law once you attain the age of 18 years. After 18 years, you're expected to take on the capacity, legal capacity, in every wise of your life. You are to make independent decisions and to be able to manage your personal and general and legal affairs, except when you become incapacitated. Mentally so. And I like to refer to that area as the legally vulnerable. As an attorney, and from my experiences in dealing in this area, particularly in the area of making wills and powers of attorney, it's a balancing act of doing justice to all concerned, mainly the person who is legally vulnerable, the caregiver or the families who are anxious to be able in some way to assist in dealing with their affairs. And also as an attorney to secure my own integrity. That also is very important. So it's quite a huge balancing act. How I meet with that, of course, is, and I deal with it generally because I deal with it as a topic of aging, which goes into the areas of dementia. If you come to me and I assess for myself that you are now somewhat partially dependent upon relatives and so on, I ask for a medical report before I do anything. I also like to put persons, family members, and caregivers out of the room and try to have a one-on-one with my client, who essentially, and that's so very important to recognize who is the client. Because the person who's coming to you who is legally vulnerable is the person with the property, is the person with the personal affairs and interests that they are handing over and giving up. That is my client. And it is my duty as an attorney to ensure that whatever documents are done, there is the integrity of that. So first, at all times, I ask for a medical report. Because when you deal with the area of capacity, it's a very uncertain technical area. And in law, the law still has not worked out clearly what incapacity is. It is relative still to the issue and to the circumstances and to the material you're dealing with at hand. It's a very relative thing. And the cases show that. Because there are times when you're lucid. Even with dementia, you may have lucid moments when the document is fine. And if you're doing a will, there are different degrees of the test, of the burdens of proof that is necessary to show that the document you have done is secure and there is integrity with it. And so it's a very large area, still uncertain. What jumps out at me, and I want to leave with you this morning, is that I have noticed through my years of experience in Trinidad that there's a whole lot of legal importance put on powers of attorney. Why, I do not know. Because a power of an attorney simply is an agreement. It is an agreement of agency with the person to whom you are agent. And that is the person who is your principal. And the person who is your principal, most times, from my experience, is the person who's legally vulnerable. Now, The document calls for capacity. That's what it calls for. So the person cannot be legally vulnerable. So if you're doing a power of attorney for a principal who is legally vulnerable and who is incapacitated, and there are questions to mental competence, that is not a secure document, can be overturned at will. Okay? And the thing, I know in England they have something called the continuing or enduring power of attorney. We don't have that here. So the power of attorney that you do is only lasting for as long as the capacity of the person who made it lasts. It can be questioned, and anything you do based on that document will then become questionable. Once the person is incapacitated, you've got to move to the Mental Health Act. You've got to go to court, and you have to go through that process of obtaining guardianship representative powers for this person. And the court has very wide powers under this area, and mental health will cover dementia as well. So that is the way to go. A power of attorney is just simply a legal agreement you have with your principal. If your principal is incapacitated, so are you. Okay?